2 removal vans at midnight, Charlotte's private tennis court under moonlit pines, and the same library where a king signed away his crown step inside the palace showdown driving Charles to boiling point. I was halfway through my mint tea in the Windsor press room when the corridor speakers crackled with a single, unmistakable bark of temper. King Charles had just read the renovation quote for Fort Belvedere, and somewhere between the swimming pool filters and the reclaimed oak orangery doors the figure broke 8 digits. "Unnecessary extravagance," he roared, words ricocheting off marble like loose buckshot. The aides froze. The walls, I swear, flinched. "Cosmopolitan." Yet 2 miles south, tucked behind copperleaf beeches, the Wales family were pacing the lawns of that very estate with tape measures and wide, unblinking smiles. They have outgrown pretty Adelaide Cottage, the insiders murmur. 4 cozy bedrooms no longer stretch far enough for George's textbooks, Charlotte's backhand, and Louis's infinite decibel range. Fort Belvedere offers 8 bedrooms, 3 staff cottages, a walled rose garden, stables, paddocks, private lake, greenhouse, and that all-important tennis court. History, land, proximity to Eton, it ticks every box, one of William's scouts whispered, boots squelching on the moss. Homes and gardens. But history here is less fairytale than thunderclap. In December 1936 Edward VIII signed his abdication papers inside the Belvedere Library, the ink barely dry before the crown pivoted to George VI and a reluctant Princess Elizabeth found herself heir. Those oak panels still hum with catastrophic romance, the ghosts of signatures linger like watermark stains. William knows that, and Catherine feels it in her bones, the risk, the resonance, the PR gold. Imagine transforming the scene of royal abandonment into the nursery of future continuity. That, my friend, is narrative alchemy. Yahoo! So why does the king's temper rattle chandelier crystals? Partly the bill. Royal accountants estimate several million just to replace asbestos insulation and modernize security. Partly optics, another royal property within 3 years, while Britons juggle mortgage spikes and rolling train strikes. Mostly, though, it is the unspoken fear that the Waleses are accelerating a silent regency. Each new square foot is not merely living space, it is command center for a couple whose public workload already shadows the monarch's. AOL. Trace the breadcrumb trail of moves and you'll see momentum building. Kensington Palace Apartment 1A Urban HQ in their newlywed glow. Then Anmer Hall, Norfolk seclusion for infant midnight cries and pandemic Swift sessions. Adelaide Cottage followed, a strategic hop onto the Windsor estate so the children could cycle to the Queen's corgis and pop into Grandpa's study for biscuits. Now, scarcely 3 summers later, the jump to Belvedere looms, bigger, bolder, heavier with symbolism than any home since Highgrove sprouted organic carrots. Cosmopolitan. Charlotte is the covert catalyst, if rumors hold. The princess who gripped Emma Raducanu's racket during a private coaching clinic has lately peppered family breakfasts with talk of serve speed and baseline drills. A personal court hidden from paparazzi drones? That is a childhood gift and a brand-building asset in one. William, ever the strategist, noted the commute to Eton, 16 minutes gate to gate, and the lake path where George can row out exam jitters. Louis. He saw a lawn large enough to build a zipline that might finally exhaust him before supper. GB News. Inside the palace, factions form. The king's valet mutters that Fort Belvedere reeks of American excess. A Kensington aide counters that the estate's long lease already sits on Crown estate books. It's cheaper to let the heirs refurbish than to watch it crumble into Instagram ruin. Treasury mandarins quietly prefer the Waleses anchored in Windsor over commuting from Norfolk when the throne changes hands. Even the Metropolitan Police, charged with royal protection, favor one expansive, controllable perimeter over 4 scattered cottages. Catherine, meanwhile, has rehearsed her ecological defense. Solar roof tiles, ground source heat pumps, kitchen garden revival. Belvedere can pivot from abdication haunt to green pioneer, mirroring the king's own climate crusade while demonstrating the next generation's tech-savvy twist. Present that plan to Charles in a red leather folder and watch ire melt into grudging approval. That, at least, is the hope weaving through Kensington corridors tonight. But cost remains a wasp in the drapes. Early contractor quotes, £5 million core refurb, £2.4 million security envelope, £1.1 million to restore the lichen-blotched orangery where Catherine dreams of mental health gardening workshops. Throw in a discreet underground panic bunker and the figure brushes £10 million, a line the king cannot publicly defend after months of urging fiscal restraint in speeches. His courtiers argue timing, reveal the spend now and the tabloids will feast, stage it over 6 years and most voters will forget by Christmas. William plays long chess. He knows Fort Belvedere is a PR risk today but a stabilizing fortress tomorrow, the moment Charles steps back or steps aside. The same library that once echoed abdication could host his first Christmas address as Prince Regent, a visual redemption arching across nearly a century. That is how storytellers beat scandal, by rewriting the set. There is, however, a human pulse under every ledger. Adelaide's corridors have recorded first bike crashes and whispered goodnight songs. Leaving will bruise nostalgia. Staff speak of Catherine tracing her fingertips along the nursery doorframe, gauging George's pencil scratch height marks before instructing a footman to photograph them for the family album. Yet she also stood on Belvedere's west terrace at dusk, watching skylarks skim the paddock mist, and breathed a single word: space. Sometimes a heart recognizes its next chapter before a brain budgets it. Still, no truck rolls across Windsor tarmac without royal sign-off. Charles may rage, but he also adores his grandchildren, and even monarchs compromise when Charlotte's eyes widen at the mention of a baseline rally unseen by telephoto lenses. Expect a flurry of counteroffers, use the house on a partial license, delay full renovation until tax receipts bounce back. Behind the oak doors, calculators click to solve an equation where narrative necessity outweighs cost in headlines. Meanwhile, the public sniff theatrical déjà vu. Another big house, another fresh start. But look closer, every prior move aligned with a defined life phase. Newlyweds, young parents, lockdown anchors. Fort Belvedere is not domestic whimsy, it is infrastructure for the on-deck monarchs. The tennis court will stage charity doubles with CEOs, the library will stream mental health roundtables, the lake will host biodiversity pilots under the Earthshot umbrella. Even the paddocks have purpose, conservation grazing as soft power photo ops. Back in London, skeptics jot acerbic columns, Fort Belvedere, Abdication 2.0? They forget that William is no Edward and Catherine no Wallis. The Wales marriage is equal parts affection and mission. Where Edward fled duty, William inhaled it. Where Wallis mocked protocol, Catherine parlays it into cause marketing. The house's ghost story is therefore theirs to reverse, same stone, opposite moral. So where does the drama land? In one study sits a king tallying bills against goodwill, in another patrol 2 heirs mapping drone no-fly zones over the new orchard. Somewhere in the middle, the Crown Estate lawyers shuffle clauses that may birth a headline: lease signed, Fort Belvedere to be home of future monarch. When that alert pings phones, remember this moment: the roar, the tape measure, the cracked mint tea serenity. And you, watching from couch or commuter seat, what rings louder? The echo of Edward's abdication or the thump of Charlotte's first ace on a court no lens can breach? Does Charles guard frugality or stall inevitability? Comment below, your verdicts fuel this insider's dispatches. While you're at it, smack the like button like Louis smacks a garden cricket ball, subscribe for the next leaked blueprint, and ring the bell so the algorithm ferries royal whispers straight to your headphones before the palace gates swing shut. As midnight curls across Windsor Great Park, the fort's windows wink with reflected starlight, as though history itself rehearses a coming spotlight cue. Somewhere inside Adelaide Cottage a cardboard box lies open, half filled with George's dog-eared atlases and Charlotte's favourite visor. Moves, like monarchies, rarely announce themselves, they unfold, silently, until the horizon has changed and only hindsight realizes it heard the hinges creak. Keep listening, the next creak may be the one that carries the crown.